Welcome to the Restricted Handling Daily Intel Brief. This is what's been going on in Iran and the Middle East in the past 24 hours. Today, we're looking at a critical escalation in the Middle East that has tested the US Iran ceasefire, highlighted the strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz, and put regional allies under new pressure. The US Iran ceasefire, agreed in April, is under one of its most severe tests yet. On June 8th, an AH-64 Apache helicopter went down near the coast of Oman, with two crew members later rescued by a U.S. Navy Corsair unmanned surface vessel, a first-of-its-kind autonomous rescue at sea. The Apache incident triggered U.S. strikes on Iranian air defenses, radar, and command infrastructure along the southern Persian Gulf coast. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks targeting U.S. bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. Nearly all incoming Iranian ordnance was intercepted, and no U.S. casualties were reported. This exchange demonstrates how a tactical incident can quickly ripple into a larger strategic challenge for diplomacy and energy security. Iran is clearly using its limited military actions as strategic leverage. Officials in Tehran framed these operations as a way to pressure Washington while avoiding a full-scale war. Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf emphasized that military action should create conditions favorable to political and economic gains, which aligns with repeated regime messaging that negotiations are a continuation of conflict, not a separate track. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned that foreign forces risk crossfire in the region, subtly reaffirming Iran's maritime and regional deterrence without overtly escalating beyond control. This is an update on what we were hearing yesterday. The messaging hasn't changed, but the region has now seen the first post-ceasefire US-Iran strikes with immediate Iranian retaliation. The Strait of Hormuz remains the central strategic focus. Iran's pressure is aimed at asserting control over critical shipping lanes and ensuring that only vessels compliant with its preferred routing can transit. This is important because roughly one-fifth of the world's crude oil and liquefied natural gas flows through the strait. Disruption here could reverberate globally, affecting energy markets from Asia to Europe and the US. US Apache patrols and naval coordination with commercial vessels continue to counter Iran's leverage, but the June 8th incident underscores just how precarious navigation and energy security remain in this vital corridor. The situation in Lebanon has evolved subtly since yesterday. Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon continued, this time resulting in casualties in Tyre and prompting evacuation orders across multiple neighborhoods. The scale of evacuation has grown, signaling Israel's intent to create a buffer while maintaining operational freedom against Hezbollah targets. Hospitals reported operational challenges and staff sheltering amid strikes. Meanwhile, U.S., Israeli, and Lebanese authorities are pursuing pilot zones south of the Litani River for the Lebanese armed forces to disarm non-state actors, but the success of this initiative hinges on a ceasefire that remains fragile. The Trump-Netanyahu dynamic has shown nuanced shifts. While both leaders remain strategically aligned, differences are widening tactically. Trump seeks to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, claim nuclear progress, and conclude the conflict. Netanyahu continues to prioritize further degrading Iran's missile, drone, nuclear, and proxy infrastructure before settling. On June 10th, Netanyahu's Likud party confirmed he will run for re-election, adding domestic political pressure. This changes the calculus for how Israel can act operationally, particularly in Lebanon, while balancing Washington's diplomatic priorities. Reports indicate that Trump has nudged Israel to limit operations, but the two still coordinate strategically, highlighting a delicate balance of influence. Iran's broader axis of resistance activities remain expansive. In Iraq, U.S. influence continues to block Iranian-backed militia parties from key cabinet positions, though limited political accommodation may occur at non-cabinet levels. In Yemen, the Houthis continue threatening Red Sea shipping, with attacks including a drone targeting Eilat on June 8th and a cargo vessel engagement southwest of Balhaf. These proxy operations reinforce Iran's leverage over Israel and Gulf allies without escalating into direct conflict with U.S. forces. This is a subtle update from yesterday. The Houthis' actions have now included identifiable tactical engagements that serve Iran's broader strategic messaging. Economic and energy impacts are emerging. Oil prices climbed in early Asian trade, with Brent near $92 per barrel and West Texas Intermediate around $88, reflecting risk premiums in the Strait of Hormuz. Global indices in Asia fell modestly, with Japan's Nikkei down 0.9% and South Korea's Kospi down 2%. The US dollar remains stable as a safe haven, demonstrating how energy volatility and regional tension intersect with global financial markets. Even small disruptions or market jitters in the Gulf can have outsized ripple effects, which Tehran is undoubtedly considering as part of its strategic calculus. Russia and China continue to play restraint-focused roles. Beijing urged cooling tensions and a halt to escalation, while Moscow expressed concern about renewed US-Iran hostilities. Russia is also exploring a reformatting of military facilities in Syria, including Tartus and Hmeimim, signaling its continued interest in maintaining Mediterranean and Africa-facing access even after the Assad transition. This is an update from yesterday. We now have confirmation of Moscow's ongoing operational planning, reinforcing its enduring strategic reach despite broader regional instability. Technology and force innovation remain key themes. The U.S. Navy's Corsair unmanned surface vessel rescued the Apache crew, highlighting the Pentagon's integration of autonomous platforms for rapid personnel recovery. Task Force 59, deployed since March, continues to expand unmanned operations in Theater 4, demonstrating both cost-effective responses to high-risk situations and the increasing relevance of autonomous systems in modern conflict. The nuclear negotiation track shows no real movement toward resolution. U.S. proposals include suspension of enrichment, dilution of highly enriched uranium, dismantling of major facilities, and enabling SNAP IAEA inspections. Iran has reiterated that no agreement is currently possible without broader concessions, including sanctions relief, recognition of maritime control, and cessation of hostilities in Lebanon. The June 8 to 10 events illustrate the limits of military pressure in changing Tehran's negotiating stance. Finally, Hezbollah's deterrence and Iran's regional influence remain central to the strategic landscape. While Israel continues to strike Hezbollah infrastructure, Iran's messaging indicates that further action could trigger a calibrated response. These developments, coupled with proxy engagements in Iraq and Yemen, reinforce Iran's posture as a regional actor capable of shaping outcomes beyond its borders, even amid U.S. and Israeli operations. Thanks for listening. If you value clear, consistent analysis, leaving a review or a comment helps others discover the show. We also publish a daily intel brief on Substack, restrictedhandling.substack.com, offering deeper coverage on Russia, China, Iran, the Middle East, and the DPRK. Have a great day.